Ron Wyatt said that he found chariot wheels at the bottom of the Gulf of Aqaba, which he identified as the Red Sea.
A private team of explorers just finished a secret dive in the Gulf of Aqaba, and the data they brought back is unbelievable. They spent over $10 million to look at a specific spot on the seafloor that everyone else ignored.
Is there any physical evidence on the seabed? Yes, there is, and we have some examples. Skeletons of humans, skeleton parts of horses and bulls, chariot wheels, and strange structures.
Using advanced sonar, they found a massive trail of ancient war machines and human remains. This is not just a random find, it is the physical evidence of a massive disaster that happened overnight. The deeper they went, the more the divers felt a sense of dread that forced them to pull back. Army found beneath the waves. Let us switch gears for a second and look at how this all started. In late 2024, a small and very secret team of divers and engineers launched a private trip. This was not something funded by a college that you would read about in a boring book. This was a quiet and hidden operation paid for by private people to the tune of over $10 million. They had technology that most teams can only dream about using. They used advanced sonar that can see through the mud and robots that can film in high definition. They were not looking for old trash. They were looking for something very specific that science said did not exist. They were looking for the lost army of the king. For many years, rumors said there was a spot in the Gulf of Aqaba where these things were hidden. Most experts called it fake science or a religious trick, but this team had a map based on those old claims. They started their search in a big grid across the water. For many days, the sonar sent pulses into the deep sea. Then the person running the machine saw something. There were strange shapes on the screen that were perfectly even. These were not natural rocks. They were round and arranged in a long line. The team was shocked because the shapes looked exactly like wheels. They sent a small robot submarine down hundreds of feet into the dark and cold water. At first there was only sand, but then a round shape came into view. It was a wheel from an ancient chariot. As the robot moved forward, another one appeared, and then another. It was a massive field of debris that went on for nearly a mile and a half. The team knew they had to go down themselves because this was too big for just a camera. That brings us right to the next big mystery. Elite deep-sea divers prepared for a very dangerous dive into the silent water. As they went down, the scale of the disaster became very clear. This was a military catastrophe frozen in time. The floor of the sea was a war zone. It was filled with the remains of an army that was either running or attacking. They saw wheels with 4 spokes and some with 6 or 8 spokes. This is a very important detail. These designs matched the different chariots used by the Egyptian army a long time ago. The 4-spoke wheels were older, but the 6 and 8-spoke wheels were the newest designs for the best warriors and the king himself. Finding them all mixed together is like seeing a snapshot of the whole army. But it was not just wheels. They found metal parts that looked like the middle bars of the chariots. They found piles of wood and metal that used to be the boxes where the soldiers stood. These were all stuck to the seafloor by the coral. Most folks have no idea that the divers felt a very strong and scary feeling while they were down there. They were swimming through a graveyard under the water. Then they found the bones. Mixed in with the wheels were hundreds or maybe even thousands of bone pieces. Some were from horses, like skulls and ribs, but others were clearly from people. You could see spines and parts of skulls all mixed together in a messy pile. This was the final place for many soldiers who all perished in a sudden and violent way. Believe it or not, it gets even weirder as you look closer. One of the divers moved a bright light over a pile of coral and saw a golden shine. This matched the most amazing claim of all. People said there was a gold-plated chariot wheel down there that belonged to a high-ranking person. They could not touch it because the coral had locked it in place like cement. Trying to move it would break it into pieces. The team took thousands of photos and hours of video. They knew this would change the world. They found real evidence for one of the oldest stories in human history. But here is the part that trips everyone up. This discovery opened up a huge mess. It challenged everything experts have taught for 100 years. That is why when the news was shared with some colleges, the reaction was not excitement. It was a cold and frozen silence. This find makes us wonder what else is buried under the dark waves of the ocean. Underwater road at Nuweiba. The discovery was just the first piece of the puzzle. The place where they found it is just as important. Why was the army at this exact spot? What is so special about this part of the water? It turns out this is the most amazing part of the story. The spot was chosen because it is one of the most unique features on the whole planet. The Gulf of Aqaba is usually very deep. It is like a massive canyon under the water that goes down 5,000 or 6,000 feet. That is over a mile straight down into the dark. It is a huge wall of water that no one could ever cross on foot. But at this one specific place, everything changes. Right where the divers found the army, there is a massive flat bridge under the water. It is a plateau that goes 10 miles from a beach in Egypt called Nuweiba all the way to Saudi Arabia. On both sides of this bridge, the water drops down into those mile-deep holes. But the bridge itself is much higher up. If you take away all the noise, it's about this one path. The bridge is about 900 feet deep at the lowest part. Compared to the deep canyons next to it, it is like a raised road. The sonar maps show it very clearly. It is a 10-mile-long path that is several miles wide. This is the only place in the whole Gulf where a group of people could even try to cross. Most people look right past this part, but it matches the ancient story perfectly. The old books say the people were trapped against the sea with mountains on both sides. Nuweiba Beach fits this description exactly. It is a huge beach surrounded by tall mountains that no one can climb. The only way in is from the side, and the only way out is into the sea, and right there is the underwater bridge. This is a huge fact because the people who wrote the story a long time ago could not have known about this bridge. You cannot see it from the top. You need high-tech sonar to find it. The geography itself is a silent witness. It suggests that something very big happened right here. A narrow path like this can easily become a trap. The trail of wheels and bones follows the path of this hidden bridge. It looks like a group of people got caught right in the middle. This location also explains why the things are still there. The depth of 900 feet kept them safe from storms and people who might want to steal them. The water currents also helped by covering everything in sand and dirt. This slowly buried the wheels and bones. The warm water was perfect for coral to grow. The coral acted like natural concrete. It grew over the hard surfaces of the chariots. Over thousands of years, the wood went away, but the coral kept the shape of the wheels. The divers were finding fossils made of coral that looked just like chariots. Without this special bridge and the coral, everything would have been washed away a long time ago. Let us look at what is actually happening with the size of this find. An entire army with hundreds of chariots was forced into this small 10-mile space. They were totally stuck. When the disaster hit, they had no place to run. They could not go left or right. They were trapped in a bottleneck. This explains why there are so many things found in one small area. It is proof of a massive event. The fact that this place is so unique also helps answer people who doubt the story. Some say it is just a random shipwreck, but this is not a boat. These are hundreds of war machines, all from the same time, found on the only possible crossing path. That is not a coincidence. That is a crime scene from history. This path was not found by accident, and the man who first talked about it was ignored for a long time. Something very powerful must have been used to clear a path through such deep water. The whole story goes back to one person. He was not a famous expert or a professor. His name was Ron Wyatt. For a long time, the whole world thought he was totally wrong. He was a nurse from Tennessee who loved to look for history in his free time. He believed that the stories in the old books were real history that could be found. He spent his own money and his life trying to find proof. He was an outsider, and that is putting it lightly. In the 1970s, he became focused on finding where the sea was crossed. He did not like the common theories about small lakes. He followed the clues that pointed to a large body of water deep enough to swallow an army. His search brought him to Nuweiba Beach. He thought that if people were trapped there, then that must be where the water opened up. To put it in simple words, he went down to see for himself. In 1978, he used simple diving gear and a small boat. He did what no one else would do. He claimed to find the exact same things the $10 million team just found. He said he saw wheels covered in coral and even found a part of one. He took photos that were a bit blurry, so people said they were just rocks, but he did not stop there. He went back and said he found human bones and horse bones mixed in. He even said he saw a golden wheel shining under the water. When he showed his work, the experts did not just ignore him, they made fun of him. They called him a fake and said he was just seeing what he wanted to see. The experts were frozen and would not listen to anything he said, and it does not even stop there with his claims. He also said he found the big boat from the flood in the real holy mountain in Saudi Arabia. To the scientific world, this was just a dream and not real research. His ideas about the Red Sea were thrown away with everything else. For over 40 years, people said the site was a myth. But here is the snag. Ron Wyatt passed away in 1999. People still thought he was a fool when he was gone, but he left behind his maps and his notes. He left the exact numbers for the spot on the bridge and the debris field. The secret team in 2024 was not just guessing where to go, they were following the map made by the nurse from Tennessee. Their high-tech machines were checking his claims one by one. The sonar proved there was a bridge. The robots proved there were wheels with different spokes, just like he said. The divers found the bones. They even saw the shine of gold that he talked about years ago. This is the heart of the problem. The experts who laughed at him are now looking at data that shows he was right about the debris field. This discovery is forcing everyone to look at a man they all thought was crazy. It is also making people wonder how such a big event could have ever happened. The answers to that question are even more wild than the discovery itself. Does finding physical proof of an ancient miracle make the world a safer or more dangerous place? Let us know what you think in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more mysteries.